Good evening, everyone, and welcome to a special edition of Speak Your Mind with Larry Cox on Monday as we begin some of our candidate interviews on Mondays because guess what? We're running out of Sundays. So we decide we go ahead and start some Monday shows to make sure everyone who wants to come on have an opportunity to be on the show, to be able to tell you about themselves and why they're running for office and give you the opportunity as Rockdale County voters to make your decision about who you're going to throw your vote and support behind. So we've always enjoyed the candidate series when this time of year comes around, when we have election cycles. And I know the audience will build up here as we get going because you guys are not used to me doing a Monday show. And that's okay because I know you guys will do what you do and watch the recording because the recordings are always very popular with you guys. So we thank you for that. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to bring our guest on, introduce our guests, and let you guys hear from her. So without any further delay, let me bring on uh, Judge Sonny Mullins. Hey, Judge, how you doing?
I'm wonderful, Larry. How are you?
We're doing good this evening. So uh, we might not have a big audience that joins us live tonight, but don't be concerned about that. You'll have many people go back and watch the broadcast. So just make sure we give them their value, right? So
Nope.
so they want to come in and watch. So again, it's nice to have you on the show. It's nice for you to be able to come and uh, tell the people about yourself and who you are. So let's get into that. Let's let you introduce yourself, tell the people a little bit about you and what you're running for.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me, first of all. My name is Judge Sonny Mullins. I am the current magistrate judge here in Rockdale County. I'm associate magistrate judge. I've been judging just under 2 years now, and I've practiced law for over 20 years. I live in Rockdale County and have lived here, and I've been here for over 16 years, so coming up on 2 decades here. Um, I love Rockdale. I chose Rockdale, moved here from Gwinnett County, and this has been home ever since, and I'm grateful for that. And yeah, that's just a little bit about myself.
Okay, so let's get into it. So you have lived in Rockdale, you said, for right around 20 years.
Just under, yeah,
Yeah, and that's right around the same time that I moved to Rockdale County in 2005. So right around the same era. There's a lot of people that that have that same sort of time span as in that area that we do, Sonny. That
mm-hmm.
2003 to 2008 move in
Mm-hmm.
cycle. There was a lot of people that came to Rockdale County from that. So you came from Gwinnett at that time.
Correct. Hmm.
Now, are you a native Georgian or did you come from
No, I'm
somewhere
not.
else?
I'm
I'm not.
originally
I'm not either. So where are you from?
I'm from the Midwest, originally from Minnesota.
Originally from Minnesota.
Mhm.
So I'm originally from West Virginia. So
Okay.
and that's what I've noticed also that a lot of us came from other places to Georgia and to Conyers and a nice melting pot of different areas of the country where we all came from and decided to make this home. So it's nice to know. And there's a lot of us, right, that
Yeah.
made Rockdale County. And when you stay somewhere 20 years, Judge, it's home.
Oh yeah.
It's home. That's home. I mean, you've made that's your place. That's your home. I agree 100%. So
My definition would be when your children grow up and leave and you're still there, that's definitely home.
that's home. That is home. Now
You
now
you
were
have
were
some
you
place
were
to
you
stay.
an attorney in Minnesota?
Yes, I was. I went
So
home to Minnesota for law school. My
so so
first month back, I said, what was I thinking?
so yes. So you did practice law in Minnesota for a little while,
Correct.
and then came back, and I guess you when you went back and went to Gwinnett, you continued your practice in Gwinnett before you came over to
Correct.
Rockdale, right? So you had over 20 years of being a lawyer, I'm assuming.
Correct.
before becoming the associate master. Now, what did you think about the transition, Judge, from practicing law to enforcing law? Was it is it a transition from one to the other, or did one prepare you for the other?
I think absolutely it does prepare you for the next level. I liken it to if somebody works in medicine and you're a doctor in a hospital, your ultimate goal is to become the medical director of that hospital. You want your hands in everything. So I would think that every attorney would want to be a judge. It depends on their practice. I know attorneys where if you're looking to become that high dollar attorney and that's who you become, you will not give up your practice to become a judge. A judge isn't about financial, it's strictly about public service. So it just depends on the pace that that individual attorney is on. For me, it made sense. Um, I have zero regrets about making the choice, but it definitely prepared me for it.
So it definitely did prepare. Now, Judge, what I think I heard you talk about this when I was in an event you were at the other day. So what type of law did you specialize in?
So, pretty much started in the criminal defense and personal injury plaintiffs work. I believe when you're a well rounded attorney, it makes you a better attorney. So, especially in the beginning, you want to figure out what your niche is going to be. When I started law school, I had no idea that I was going to be a trial attorney at all. I was a lifetime athlete. I played professional women's football. So it was something that I wanted to continue to do for athletes. I wanted to be able to represent them and service them. But I had a professor who I either hate to love or love to hate who changed everything about me while I was in law school. So I was a practicing law student. So I practiced ever since I was a 1L. Um, my law school was fortunate enough to have that. And I actually did all the civil matters for people who were locked up in Minnesota prisons. So I would go to the prisons and handle civil disputes, divorces, child support cases, custody cases. That was my first experience in taking cases to the higher level. I was able to argue a paternity case while 8 months pregnant. And that experience let me know, oh, I am doing the right thing. So, you have that one defining moment in your career. That was one of many.
Right. So, and yeah, as you've practiced these different types of law, or you did these different types of cases as a
Mhm.
private attorney, that's what prepared you for becoming a magistrate judge.
Absolutely. So when you're a trial attorney, you're able to get courtroom decorum and that experience, how the flow of a courtroom is. Doesn't necessarily prepare you to be a judge. I think what prepares you to be a judge is judging. You learn. You could wish, you want, hope all day long. There's nothing like actually doing the job. So doing the job has best prepared me for the next adventure if it happens to
So
end
so
it.
you're so like practicing law and going before the court, it teaches you the procedural process, and then
Correct.
when you actually put that robe on, then looking at it from that side, it's this is what it's like over here on this side of the. Oh,
Correct. So you
gotcha.
have to imagine you're representing one person. You only know the facts from perspective at that point. That one angle, one side, then opposing counsel knows it from their side. But you master your side of the case. Um, when you become a judge, you don't master one side. You have to know both sides. So you're no longer an advocate. You are literally managing at that point and handling, and you're advocating. Um, yeah, no, you're not. Let me just say that you're not. You can't. As an attorney, you advocate for that one client. As a judge, you are managing the entire courtroom, both sides of the cases. You're evaluating, and then you make a decision based on what those parties present to you.
Gotcha. And then if you have a jury going on, then you're even balancing more at that point.
Well,
Because
you're
yeah,
definitely
because
managing them,
yeah,
right?
because you've got your defendant, you've got your your plaintiff, then you've got the jury that you're dealing with. So you're making sure everybody has everything they need, so
Correct.
that yeah, so it's managing the whole process at that point. And I'm sure that can be a daunting task because um, so in magistrate court, how many cases do you like when you hold court uh, during a day? How many cases would you see in magistrate court a day? Sometimes.
It depends. We are not as large as other counties. So let's, for instance, my mentor, I went to trial day for her in small claims court. She had 90 cases. I was like, 90, wow. 40 for us is a lot. And so 90, it's like, okay, you really have to master managing your calendar and managing the courtroom.
And then also, you guys, when you were at the event the other day, you were on call,
Mhm.
and you had mentioned that you were on call because if I guess someone got arrested or something, you may have to go do a warrant, right?
Correct.
So,
So
what's that process like?
it's exciting,
You could
especially
just get called at any time to go. I mean, that's what I say. You're on. So a lot of people don't realize judges are on call, and
correct.
that's where I was wanting to go with that. That
Mhm.
sometimes when you like on the magistrate side, that that you're on call, and I guess you could be called out at any time during that cycle to go and handle an issue.
You absolutely are 24/7. So the biggest description that I can give people, or the picture that I can paint, is if you watch a TV show and a murder happens, and they'll go, "Oh, let's call Judge Jones," and I'm the judge that gets called, whether it's 4 a.m., 9 a.m., or 2 o'clock. So you just always have to be ready. That phone stays with me. Um, and you serve. You have to love what you do, especially if you're somebody's calling and knocking on your door and waking you up in the middle of the night.
Now,
You
now
absolutely,
on the state court level, is that judicial position more? Is it more stable and more scheduled versus the magistrate position? Or is it on? Does it have on call stuff also?
you
Or,
take away the on-call aspect,
you take away
but
the on call aspect, and then you have probably more of a rigid court
correct,
docket. I'm
correct.
assuming. And if I'm not mistaken, state court deals with traffic violations.
Misdemeanors,
Yep. So
high
you so
dollar court claims,
yeah.
DUI.
But all the tickets and all that kind of stuff that are issued, that goes before the state court. So
Correct.
that's a heavy docket right there, because I'd say there's a lot of citations issued. So you guys have probably got a real heavy docket with that, because I think uh, our current state court judge didn't hasn't he the chief, he has implemented, I think, night court, right? So I think he like once every cycle or whatever does a night court to clear up the calendar a little bit.
I heard he was trying. I haven't been to it yet, so I'm not sure how much of a success or not a success it is. But definitely, when you have a lot, the whole goal of judging is to serve the community.
Yeah,
We
I
don't,
had him on the show, and he talked about it, and he was excited
yeah.
about that, and he felt it was going to be successful and help. He felt it was going to help free up the docket
Oh,
quite a
absolutely.
bit.
If it helps, then that's any judge's goal. Managing your calendar and not having a backlog of, files and cases, because people will tend to feel that you don't care about them because their case is set 90 days out. They don't understand that you have, an entire county that has cases. They all have to be heard, and there are procedural aspects of it that they have to go through as well.
So now, how does that hierarchy work as far as when when you've got your state court judge and you've got the chief state court judge, and then I guess what this position that you're running for, is it like just the regular, or would it we become referred to as an associate position also?
Yeah, an associate state
Okay,
court judge.
so
Retiring via open
so
seat.
so how does that hierarchy work when you've got the one judge that's going to be staying in place, and he's considered the chief, and then you've got an associate coming in? Does the chief judge set the schedule for the court, and you guys work together? How does that work?
Chief judge always runs that level of court. So that's their job. For each county is different, but for our county, chief judge is usually based on seniority.
Is it because I know Rockdale County is unique as far as the Superior Court, where we have our judicial circuit is within the county, and I know most of those circuits are multi-county. Does it work the same way with state court, or are they multi-judicial also? Multi-county, usually within the county, because I know Newton, Walton, and something else are that judicial for the Superior Court. Now, is the state court under that same judicial circuit?
State court will be just in the Rockdale County.
Just in Rockdale County.
So
gotcha.
Different judges can, on a state level, I want to say, for the state of Georgia, you can have attorneys that cover other judges. Sorry, not attorneys. You can have judges that cover other judges' calendars when needed. So Superior Court judge and magistrate, that happens often.
You have other judges come in and cover
correct
the other districts. And would that be if they think there's a conflict or something, and they say I don't, or just if the load is so heavy?
A judge is sick, a judge is over here, and one judge is on vacation and one judge falls ill. How do you fill that position? You can't stop someone's calendar in magistrate or superior. So then that's probably a situation where they would bring that in.
And I know somebody that does a temp judge job, right?
Okay.
So so I know somebody he's been doing a temp job for about a year now, right? Didn't think it was going to last that long, but but just circumstances, and they've filled a position temporarily for about a year because of circumstances. So I mean, I get that, but like I said, a lot of people don't understand this stuff, right? Because we don't talk to a lot of judges a lot of times, Judge Mullins, and I'll tell you why. Because it's very rare that we have competition with judges, because most of the time you very rarely have open seats. Most of the time when there's an open seat, the judge will resign or retire 6 months before they're set to their term expire. There can be an appointment. So, I mean, but we're not, so it's very unique to actually have these open seats or have judges being challenged by other people. So I think this year in Rockdale County, we have the unique perspective of elections with, people running for these positions, so that we can actually learn a little bit about the judicial, because, when people are unopposed, there's no need to really run a vigorous campaign and to do interviews. So
that is true.
So I think that's what we're seeing. The difference is just first time we've had actually challenges in a while, and the need to actually have interviews. So it's I know for me, a junkie who likes realm, I love campaigns, and I love people coming and explaining why they're the person. Ultimately, whether people realize it or not, and you're beginning to see this, I'm assuming, campaign is nothing but a big job interview.
Long
job interview. That's what it is. It is a job interview. Right?
I will say that, but it definitely is, as it should be. I think if more voters, so more people knew that they could have a voice and that they could have a say in somebody that they might potentially be vulnerable in front of, because most people go in front of a judge in a vulnerable moment. It could be a divorce, it could be a car accident, it could be, you're having an argument with a neighbor, or you end up having to fight a business for whatever reason. That's a vulnerable moment. So I think if more people understood that they actually have a say in who could possibly rule over a major decision in their life, they would get involved much more.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, I hadn't thought about that, right? But you're right. When someone goes before the court, it is a highly charged emotional situation, right? That
Mm-hmm.
that they're going to embrace. I have, unfortunately, uh, I've represented my before, not knowing that I actually needed an attorney to do what I was going to do. Um, it was
Okay.
24, 25 years ago. My sister, I filed for guardian conservatorship, and
Okay.
I really didn't realize I should have got an attorney until
Okay.
after I did it. And I did this in West Virginia, and the judge, after I went through all the process, it took me several months. He told me at the time, he said, Mr. Cox, he said, you're the only person we know of in the state that's ever done this that didn't have an attorney that was successful.
And
So
you
it
got
was
lucky.
like, well, I don't know if it was more I got lucky as I studied and researched, right?
Okay.
And then I had um, a few people that I went and to ask questions to. They gave me some guidance, and I read about what I needed to turn in. I turned in all this paperwork, and it was a lot of paperwork. So I will say this much: for when you're presenting something like that, there's a lot of paperwork, right? So I
Oh yeah.
just imagine when you've got both sides turning that paperwork into a judge, you guys are inundated with paperwork, aren't you?
Oh, for
With
sure. And
documents.
every branch of the judicial court, you have people who want to make demands from, the floor because they are in court during that moment and they want to make a motion. Um, Whereas magistrate court is more constitutional. You worry about due process, you worry about probable cause. In state court, it's definitely procedural. It's motions, evidentiary stuff, it is rules of evidence. So, again, it's managing. Are you able to manage all that information that comes to you, and how do you digest it, and how do you break it down fairly and justly?
So, with being an associate magistrate judge, uh, how much do you work? I mean, because I think there are a few of you, right?
Mhm.
So, how much does each associate like put in? How many days do you guys work a week each?
So we have a rotating schedule between Judge Moore and myself. It's 7 days on and 7 days off. And then you are on the bench for me as much as I can get on it. So it's, I think Judge Aten and I laugh at it because she's like, I don't have enough bench for Judge Mullins. She's always on it. That's what I love to do. I fell in love with it. It was something that I don't think there's words or a moment that I can really say to give a good picture of it, but it was something that once I did it, I never wanted to stop. I love what I do. I'm very passionate about what I do. I love helping people. It allows me to help people on a greater scale. And I think people respond well to me as the newest judge on that bench. Um, we have history on our bench for sure. And I, yeah, I honor it. I love it. I do like at the end of that 7 days. So when 8:30 came this morning and I was off of work, I was like, okay, let me catch up on private practice. Let me catch up on life. I had a horse escape. I had to go fix fencing. So, and then I'm still campaigning. So that's when you catch up on your life in the midst of
So,
those moments off.
so, and I thought so too. Is I thought Judge Moore also still did his private practice. So you guys
Mhm.
still do your private practice
Correct.
on the you do that, you schedule that in between the 7 day off, 7 day on thing. Okay, I got
Hmm.
you. So that's a tough schedule, keeping up with
Yes.
right. And then, well, I know exactly
It
what you're talking about because I do the show. I do
is. Mhm.
my private job, and then I do my elected job, right? So when and you've got to be able to separate all of those things, excuse me, when you're doing it, because it can be difficult to carve out that time that you need for all of that. And then you also mentioned, right, besides the time on the bench and the time doing your private practice, you still have to find time to run your life, right?
Correct.
So it's that you talked about managing again, right?
Mhm.
It's that being able to do time management. So I guess that's an important thing when you're a judge. I'm assuming is being able to do that manage that time, managing that case log, managing all that, and then and then I guess when you're making, you're doing what prepares you to make decisions is having a lot of life experience. Would that be
Absolutely.
correct?
Absolutely. And that's what I dwell on. I didn't have the traditional path, if you will. I didn't come strictly from the DA's office or from a PD's office. I have a wealth of knowledge and experience. I'm a well rounded attorney. And I think that's what makes me a different judge in the aspect of I can relate to the everyday person who has to go to court, who has to come before a judge. Um, so I don't have mm, it just allows me to draw from a lot of different places before I make a decision. You know, when they tell you that when you love what you do, it's not work at all.
Yeah,
I really
yeah.
love what I do, but you do have to manage a lot. If you want to have sanity, if you want to have happiness, if you want to have a life, you have to manage that. You also manage the courtroom. Like you said earlier, you're managing the jury box, you're managing both sides of the party, you're managing both counsel, you're managing your courtroom staff. So it's a lot. I don't
So when
I don't
so
know.
what what so what if as far as the private practice stuff, what is your favorite type of law to practice on the private side? What what kind of cases do you enjoy the most to be able to handle? That you've
Any
handled
case
it and dealt with it. You know what I mean?
any case that truly allows me to help someone. For a while, I did sports and entertainment, and I just felt like I couldn't serve those clients anymore. It was a lot of young people with new money. So you find a time that it's time to move on. And I moved on from that. And then I was able to help small businesses, a lot of small startup businesses. And especially during the pandemic and post the pandemic, I think entrepreneurship has surpassed any other fields because a lot of people are like, oh, I had to find a way to make money while we were on lockdown. So to be able to go and find small businesses and start their foundational paperwork, and that yet I'm still serving others and helping others realize their dreams and maximize their potential. So I think I'm just a what would be the nerd of public service. I love serving others and helping others. Even this election for me, it's not a power move. For me, this is just a passion move. It's what I'm doing, and I'll be able to do it more on a greater scale, and I can help more and then have normalcy because you will have those normal hours versus the working of the 24/7.
Yeah, because I think when you look at 24/7 thing, and you're talking about that, that's like three shifts, right? So even though it's 1 week, when you look at that being on call that whole time, that's like a 3 week 40-hour schedule thrown into 1 week, right? And I want to just reflect on that because that's 3 8-hour shifts each day. Then if you
Mm-hmm.
would take that an 8-hour shift for each, then you're looking at that's
Yeah,
actually 3 weeks worth of work. And it's actually more than that because it's weekends, right? So you throw
correct.
the weekends in there and that's even more, right? So
Yeah,
it's more like a putting a 4 week schedule. Like if you have a 40-hour a week job, that is putting like 3.5 weeks into 1 week. is what you're doing. So, and
True.
and I think that's a reality. So,
I never looked
it,
at it like that, but it does. That makes sense. And it's when you love what you do, it doesn't feel like that. Like I never feel burdened by it. I look forward to it. I love it. I'm the one judge that everybody knows they can call. I'm not available. Let's call Judge Mullins. Yep, I'll do it. Sign me up. That's absolutely. So I love
and I
it.
totally get it, and I'll tell you why I get it. Right, is because I'm in the construction industry. We talked about that, and before we got on this call, Judge Mullins, how many calls did I take?
About four.
Yeah.
It's a
So
nonstop job when you have your own business, isn't it?
yeah. So this is the thing, right? So I'll work from 6 to 5 or whatever is like sort of normal office hours, right? But as long as I have people and crews working, I'm not off the clock.
Yeah.
It's as long as I have people that are working somewhere, I have to stay available. And that's the same thing I'm assuming as if you're the magistrate court judge on call,
Hmm.
that as long as you're on call and that there are police officers responding to crimes and things going on, then you have to stay available to answer that phone if you're needed to respond to an issue. So I get it, right? So I mean, I totally understand. As long as I have people working in the field, I'm
Hmm.
on call, and I get it. So
I think people get
it's
it a
interesting.
lot more. Campaigning while on call has been a sport. And right in the middle of meet and greets, you have to say, "Excuse me, sorry." I think I had to announce it at the event we were at. If this phone rings, I do not mean it out of disrespect. I'm not the person who just vanity carries around a cell phone and needs to be constantly in it or needing updates on social media. Nope, something happened in this county and somebody needs me, and I have to go be accountable because I work for the people of
Yeah,
this city.
you did say that you would have to answer the phone, step out, and you may come back, depending on if you can handle it over the phone, or you may have to leave. So
Usually the officers are really good about coming to me, especially
yeah,
during this
yeah,
time. If they have
yeah,
to come, they need a search warrant, they need it done immediately, and I'll just excuse myself and then I'll come right back in the room and pick up where I left off.
yeah. You did make that known that you would probably be back, but you might have to go. So
Hmm.
you did let everybody know that when you did that, and I think we've had a few people comment in the chat. We did have a little bit of an audience build up, and I think these may be uh, uh, supporters of yours that have come onto the chat also, uh, because I think there are people that are familiar with you with the comments that they've been making, Judge Mullins.
Well, I'll take it either way. I'll take support.
There you go.
For
So, but
learning
yeah,
about me now from you, I'll take it. I appreciate it.
so there's where you get people come on the show, and they and people like to come in and make comments, and they like to watch, and then like I said, and people like to watch the recording, right? So they'll go and watch the recording. What I recommend for you to do too is on your social media,
Hmm.
make sure to let people know that you were on the show,
Okay.
and tell them they can go and you did an interview, and if you want to learn more about me and more about the campaign, then you go watch the show. So that
Absolutely.
way they'll have an opportunity to do it, because let's be real, you've been to a lot of events doing campaign. This is what I noticed about campaign, and I've been in politics a long time, helping running campaigns and doing other things. So when you go to events in the county, you're going to notice this, and you've probably already noticed this. 70-80% of the people that are in the room are in each room you go to. It's the same 70 or
Oh, definitely.
80% of the people that because they're the people that are engaged and they go to all the events. So you're only going to reach X number of people by going to these in-person things.
Hmm.
Shows like this are actually how you can actually reach people that you wouldn't normally reach, because it's that same 20-25 people that go to all these events that you go to. That's what I've noticed. And then you've got a couple of things that you're going to do that'll be different people, but
Yeah, I've
most
been
most of them
fortunate
it's repeat.
to have my community completely expand immensely. I think as a judge, I've lived a extremely private life, even just as an attorney. but especially as a judge, you can't always make both sides happy. So it was about protecting myself as well. And coming out for this campaign, you see me moving. I have a farm dog that's trying to be a part of the show. He is just adamant to bump my arm. Um, but you have people who've come up to you, they've seen you at an HOA meeting or at an event. And to me, that's awesome because you don't get to look out into an audience and make contact with each person. And you hope you do. You hope you just reach one person and say, hey, this is me. I know you guys don't know me prior to, but that's not a bad thing because who wants to go to court and say, oh, yeah, I've had a couple of DUIs. I know that judge. I'm real familiar with her. Or, yeah, can't stand my neighbors. So I know that judge right there. So I think it's good and it makes you more human to be able to see that I am just like the other residents of Rockdale County. I'm a normal, everyday person. And I've just loved the job that I do. And I want to do it on a larger scale and do it for them. They may not even know how much I work for them. So thank you for pointing it out, that 24/7 job. It is an all day job, definitely. And most people don't know that. They get to see it and experience it at an event like, oh, okay, she just left out of here. Okay, but she's back. So I think that makes a difference, especially in the job interview at hand, if you will. We talked about it being a large job interview. So, but I think
Well, it's what it is. And it's a drawn out process, but it is a job interview because at the end of the day, you're asking the voters to hire you. You're
Mhm.
when they vote for you, and if you get that 50+1, if you get that percent, then the voters of Rockdale County will have decided to hire that person that got the majority vote, and then it's up to you at that point to to uh, to deliver, right? But because unlike a lot of other jobs that you get and you get hired every 4 years, if you decide that you want the job again, you got to go through that job interview process.
That's true.
So that's the way it works, right? And then you know I get it, right? I mean, so I just went through this process a couple of years ago. It can be a very challenging process when you go through it, right? And some people handle it better than others, right?
Oh, yeah.
And it is it. You're right when you talked about uh, the community getting to know you and being involved with you and getting more in your business. They do. When you run a campaign, you're running for office, and you're asking people to vote for you. They want to know about you, and they do get in. They get in your business, right?
Yeah.
So um, they start checking you out, finding out more about you. They'll stalk your social media, and with me, it's no big deal. I mean, I'm out there on social media. I don't hide anything, right? So,
Yeah.
especially if you do a show like this, you're 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 out there with the public all the time. Judge, um, when I ran and I got elected, and I had people advise me not to continue doing. I said, no, I'm going to continue the show. I know it could, some people might not think I should, but I think I should. And I have got really positive feedback about continuing to do the show, even though I do hold an elected office. So so they do like the fact that I continued the show because I think the community looks at this show as something that's needed. And if without a show like this, there would be a void um, that we would not have um, a place for candidates to go and be able to talk candidly and openly about themselves and about what they want to accomplish if elected.
Absolutely. I think any time that you are opening yourself up for people to come be in your business, but hopefully it's not about being in your business. Hopefully it's about to see how you are and how you handle business. I think that's always a bonus. This allows people to, it's unfortunate, but it's a part of campaigning. They see my face on a sign. What does that mean? It doesn't mean much of anything. She got a big face at best, right? Gives you a name and a title and a face. This gives an opportunity for people to go, I didn't know she was a judge, or I knew she was a judge, but I didn't know either what kind of judge, or I didn't know that she lived in the county for so long. So for me, I honor it and I think it's something great that you do. I think you should continue to do it. It allows people to step outside their comfort zone. Like I said, I've lived such a private life. For me, a podcast, I'm like, really? What is that? What is that about? But now I've sat through it and I've seen how it's done. And I'm like, wow, this is awesome. And I commend you for doing it. I appreciate allowing me to be on here and allowing your fans and everybody to see me or sides of Rockdale County that didn't even know I existed. So I appreciate it.
Well, no, and that's the thing about it, right? Is we don't usually do a Monday show, and I don't know if you've noticed or not, but our audience count has got up to like 30, right?
Okay, I can't
And
see
that's
it
a
on my end,
well,
but
that's a
okay.
really good count, just so you
Okay.
know, for a live show. And I would say by the end of the night, when I go and check the views, you'll probably have 500 views tonight by 10 o'clock.
That's awesome.
So I mean, so that's what you people will come and they'll start viewing it, and and that's what had like last night's show. I think when I checked afterwards, we had over 500 views by 10 o'clock, right? So, and that's what you have. You'll have the live show, but then people, like I said, you make sure you reach out to your people, tell them to share and like the show afterwards, share it afterwards, and that way it'll get out to people that they know, and then that way you get to share what you brought to the table,
Mhm.
and and you reach more people through these avenues than you can one on one. You really do, and and it makes a difference. It does make a difference. So I'll tell you what, Judge, we've been on here about 45 minutes, and I think we've covered everything I think we need to cover. I mean, what I'm going to let you do is I'm going to let you do one last appeal to the citizens of Rockdale County of why you're the person they should choose.
I appreciate that. Thank you very much. Again, I'm Judge Sonny Mullins. I am your current magistrate judge. I am currently serving in this county and serving you as the citizens of this county. I love what I do. So far, I haven't had any complaints, so I think I'm doing it really good. I plan on doing it on the next level so that I can do it more. I am a wife, I am a mother. I believe that you can rule with compassion without compromising the law. And I do believe that people deserve fair and just trial. I do believe they deserve a judge who would listen to them. Most people come to court and they're afraid. What people probably don't know is I do free weddings once every single month. So judging doesn't always have to be negative or choosing a side or ruling between two, parties that are vying against each other. We try to bring some sunshine and some light into the county by offering services to the county. So we do that once a month. Anyone who wants to get married, come on down to magistrate court. Other than that, I welcome your vote. Hopefully, I have earned your vote through this show. I appreciate you, Mr. Cox. I had a great time on it. And I look forward to May 19th, bringing it home. Early voting starts April 27th through May 15th. So let's everybody get out there and vote. If you want to have a choice between somebody who is going to potentially make a decision over your life, the only way to do that is to go and show up and vote. So tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend. Let's go vote.
So and just so everybody knows, and this is what I say, if you want to come on the show and if you're a candidate, just reach out and ask to come on the show. Judge Mullins, you said, Larry, how do I get on your show? And I said, well, you just did the magic thing. You asked. I said that's all you do is you ask. Because if any candidate asks to come on the show, they come on the show because that's how we do this word of mouth. Anybody that's running for office, they ask to come on the show, and they are immediately granted access to the show. I say, okay, these are the dates. What dates you want? And easy peasy. And I do apologize. I thought I sent you the link earlier, I had actually been sending a bunch of links this week to different people wanting to do different things. So that link thing slipped. So my bad. I thought you got the email. I would have showed up on here and wondered where you were, and I would have texted you, and you would have said, you didn't send me the link, but you reached out ahead of time, and I said, oh, my bad.
Yeah, I was going to show up regardless. I was like, I know we made an agreement. You know,
we did,
we
and
do
I didn't
here too.
Yeah,
so
and I didn't send the link, and I thought I did because I had sent several others, and I went back and looked at the email, and I said, okay, this is one of them that I did not send. So, but that's the way it goes. So, but we
made it work.
We sent the link, and we did our little pre-show, make sure the audio video was good, went over what was going on, and we got it in. So, Judge, I want to thank you for coming and joining us tonight. Wish you luck in your endeavor here, and I thank the audience for joining us tonight. You built steady and strong, and thank you for joining us tonight. And I will have a show next Sunday, and next Sunday I will have Clarence Cuthbert running for state court judge on the show. So next Sunday, 8 p.m., Clarence Cuthbert. So thank you, everybody. And Judge, if you'll stay on when I click off, we'll do a little after show.
Okay.
Thanks, guys. See you guys next Sunday.